Something very interesting happened in recording this video, and I apologize for the sound, but it's not because of me. The words that are being obliterated by the robots are words like frequency and words like source and words like team dark and all of the references that would be considered threatening to AI bots and nanobots and Team Dark. So I'm not going to record the video again. It was my second try, but I will apologize for the sound quality. And whenever you hear a drop in my voice, I did not drop. The AI bots have taken that information and distorted it. So this is a really great example of how frequency works. They really do want to delete this information and have people have no access to it at all. So that's just a preamble. I will encourage you any place where my voice quote drops to insert the word frequency or source or team dark, depending on the context. Okay? And this is what we've got now. So I hope you can tolerate it. It's not that terrible. Thanks. Well, that's interesting. I have to start this video all over again. And I had really given you the information in exactly a spectacularly well organized, aligned timeline. And so I will begin again. I'm Anaiis. I hope you are well and safe. And if you don't know me, I have been in the area working as a healer, a teacher, accelerated conscious evolution for more than 30 years. And I'm here because I want to share in real time the information that comes from direct experience, inner knowing. And I'm not someone who channels. I am not involved in the New Age movement at all. But I have information about that, and I have perspectives about that, which I would like to share with you. So I'm going to once again tune into the frequency from which I am broadcasting to you. And it is a frequency that for some of you, you will immediately feel its resonance, and then you'll know that it's something that you might choose to pay some attention to and to give it a little time to explore as part of your own journey. Today is a major Christian holiday. It is Good Friday. And in the Christian meme of Savior, sacrifice, redemption, suffering, that organization of consciousness, this is a major holiday where millions of people around the world, not the least of which is, highly energized by the Roman Catholic Church, to celebrate the sacrificed, beautiful person who was a teacher. And in that meme, that story, that millions of people choose to give their quanta to in terms of devotion and donation and acts of kindness in their attempt to walk a Christed path. I questioned many years ago. I was, 8 years old when I was like, wait, what is this story they're trying to market to us about this amazing human being having been born here and the only son of God and didn't have a biological father, which I actually understand. And then he was sacrificed for our sins. And so that whole relationship was set up, and it's a very realm of consciousness. This wonderful person who was known as Jesus One of the things that he actually said, which I really stuck with me from early childhood on, was my father, and he was talking about source, requires mercy. Nobody pays any attention to that statement. We would be living in a different world. All right. So today is that day. It's Good Friday, where people are celebrating a man, probably an innocent man in many ways. He may or may not have been the person of Jesus Christ. There's no way to was nailed to a cross. There isn't a well, there are the burning of women and burning of black people and there. I mean, the 3D construct is all about brutality. It is all about creating mass drama that translate from the personal to the transpersonal to the national and beyond to generate terror. Because terror for the Team Dark, Black Sun, Saturn, Black Cube organization of consciousness, which is not aligned with Source, trying to generate its own creation. That's its goal. It's competing with Source. Isn't that funny? Yeah, that's how they roll. And they rolled like that and they're unable to stop themselves from continuing to generate destruction, suicide murder programs, domination, violence, brutality, war, famine, plague. This is their specialty. And why? Because they can keep human beings, first of all, working for them out of a state of incredible fear of death. And they can continue to generate the quanta explosions, which they feed off of, which can be called loosh. It's called loosh by some people, but for me, I just call it distorted quanta that has been pulled from a person in a way that is not voluntary because that the dynamics are not. Okay, so Good Friday. Alrighty then. And then this will be followed on Sunday by the holiday Christian, many splintered factions of Christianity, fracturing off of Roman Catholicism. This holiday will then celebrate the risen Christ who took care of all your shadow work and your sins for you and prepared a way for you. Where? Well, you might want to ask where. And you might want to ask, let's scratch my nose here. Um, how convenient to have one man, a son of God no less, come into an environment and do the dirty work for everybody. I say he absolutely had to be a black Jesus because only black people get to play that role. They come in and do the dirty work for everybody, clean up the mess, and so nobody else has to take responsibility. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! What a story! Wow! Think about the architecture, think about the structures, think about the organizations, think about the money, think about gold, think about the power ship, think about the intercessionship, where you can't have a direct relationship with your own creator. You need a priest. Okay, well, if that works for you, I wish you a good Friday and I wish you a joyous day on Easter Sunday. We're on a timeline now. We have the ascending Earth divided in 2016. And in that, she began to invite those of us who are DNA coded to make the journey back home to Source a different journey than Team Dark has planned for those who are not awake and who have made unconscious agreements that they haven't explored or woken up to yet. So it is April, it is 2020, and we're on a timeline now. We're about to approach a quantum time leap into probability. And that's why I'm making this video, because you need to know that this is happening so that you can choose, so that you can consciously choose. And the time leap probability is to continue on with the journey within the structures that are available now and the help that we have. And it is a co-creative effort. No one is saving us. We have to choose to save ourselves. This is a time leap probability moment for you to move forward so that you don't loop backward and that you're not in this present moment, which is what they're trying to do. They're trying to hold this present moment of the story of a global pandemic as long as they can so that they can harvest as much of your life force quanta from you as they can, primarily based on fear and terror, and extreme terror around death, the process of physical letting go of the body. Okay, so let's move forward, shall we? I'm here right now speaking to you on this broadcast frequency that I carry, which is aligned with 48 strands of activated DNA. I'm here specifically for this purpose. I came here specifically for this purpose. And now is the time when I need to let everybody who might possibly be interested let you know that. I'm not here as a savior, but I am here as someone who can give you some information based on experience, lots of experience, that you can check it out for yourself and feel whether or not it resonates with your DNA and with your mental, emotional, and atomic, so that you can move on to your path of liberation more solidly, more safely, and you're empowered to continue on using your own eternal prana life. So I'm not here to save you. I'm really not. But I am still here, and I'm on the journey as well as you are on the journey, and I do have information. So this is a really great time to understand that this coronavirus, COVID-19, did not come from source. It did not come from the earth. It did not come from Gaia. It is not natural. It is a bioweapon, and there was a man arrested in January, a Dr. Lieber from Harvard, no less, who had been hired by the Chinese government to set up a research lab in Wuhan. And there is information that this particular strain of the virus, of the coronavirus, was developed using a strain that was discovered in bats, and that some of it escaped the lab, and it's airborne, and so now it's everywhere, right? And it does primarily affect the ability to breathe. Okay, it will impact your lungs in a very negative way. All right, you're going to drown in your own mucus, which is no way to go. So there was someone who he was arrested. He wasn't arrested for he's a nanoparticle specialist, by the way, which is why I can guarantee you that this virus is airborne. And I can also let you know that I contracted it in October, and it took me 3 weeks to work through it. And because of it, I was able to develop another frequency-based product, water product, that I'm happy to share with anyone it's all about frequency now. And those of you who are aware of what's happening with the 5G rollout understand that it's now about frequency. Okay, it's another whole conversation, and I'm going to try to keep this video to less than an hour. So the coronavirus is not an act of God. It's not an act of nature. It is an active act of Team Dark. Okay? Because they want you in captivity now. They want the entire world in lockdown, and it's not going to come out. There's not going to be a normal. There's going to be a level of captivity that is beyond imagination, should you choose to stay on the path of fear and needing comfort, the mystery that is. It is a mystery. It is not a system. It has structure, it has organization, but it is not a system. And within the structure and organization of source aligned awareness and your ability to become a conscious co-creator, you have, as we all have, free will, but you come out of the confusion between free will and power. Team Dark has been selling on this 3D construct inside this realm of consciousness. They've been selling a free will as if it's a form of power. It's not. And they have constructed a suicide murder program, and that's been going very well for them. Now, because of source intervention, because Gaia, parts of Gaia are choosing to ascend, and because every human being on the planet isn't agreeing to play that game, there have been modifications. Which is why during this global pandemic, we haven't seen any more mass shootings. Because that plan didn't work. That was going to be the intended plan for lockdown. For locking down our schools. Right? Keeping our children captive in our schools with guards with guns. To quote, protect us from the bad guys. When the bad guys were also running on a suicide murder program based on vibration, oscillation, and frequency. Right? So I can't catch you up on everything that's been going on for the last 8 years. I can hopefully encourage your curiosity to go do some exploring on Google and on the internet before all this information disappears, which it will. It will go away because it can't exist and be part of the lockdown. Then you would know the truth. And if you know the truth, then you're going to not be a compliant person who strictly follows the recommendations and the guidelines and the orders and the frequency because you're scared to death. Well, that won't be you. They want all those people gone. They do. So, what a dynamic time to be alive! Woohoo! And what a great opportunity for you to see the truth as I'm presenting it to you, and take it or leave it. If it resonates in your body, you'll know. You will know. And so this is the time for you, if you haven't been meditating, to meditate. You've been given a tremendous gift. Many people, there are over, I think, 17 million people in the United States who have filed for unemployment. You're not working. So I'm going to invite you to use your time. First of all, go within. Just sit, relax, be quiet, listen to some music, and try to hear your own inner voice. Or inner voices, as the case may be. Okay. Secondly, use this gift of time to show appreciation for the people who are still in jobs working for you. Show appreciation for the people who are coming still to collect your trash. Show appreciation for the people who are still operating water systems and power plants and generators. Show appreciation for the people who are still working in doctors' offices. Show appreciation for the people who are doing, though there's not enough of it, the testing. And interesting that there are 2 testing sites that are closing down in Pennsylvania. So testing isn't that important because this isn't a real thing. If this was a real thing, if this was a natural virus, if they didn't know what this was all going to lead to, testing would still be imperative so that the curve could be flattened. Well, we had a major testing site in Ambler closed down because they couldn't control the outdoor environment with the wind blowing the tents down. I don't know why the testing situation at Citizens Park was closed down. Maybe enough people weren't coming. I don't know. But there's this COVID-19 pandemic, global pandemic, is being marketed and sold. And the price that you are paying for it is your fear. If they can sell it to you and you give them your fear in exchange, their success. So please use your time wisely. Read, tune out from the news. The news is just now a trance program. It's just a trance suicide murder program inviting you at an atomic level because they can manage some of that frequency now, and you're the only one who can shift yourself out of that. Right? I can go out and I can feel the program running from inside the earth all the way up through the atmosphere. I'm not sensitive. I'm someone who can also feel earthquakes. But I could feel the program running as a particular kind of vibration and know it's a frequency. And in the moment when it was trying to come up through my feet, I was like, no, thanks. I'm not doing that. Thanks anyway. So let me repeat that the information is in January. This is truthful information. This is not fake news. Dr. Lieber, who is associated with Harvard University, his specialty is nanoparticles. He was arrested in January 2020 for previous work that he had been hired for under contract with the Chinese government to come to Wuhan and to set up a research lab. He did. And he was paid very well by the Chinese government, $50,000 a month, plus travel and living, other expenses. Okay? That's a lot of cash. And he was arrested because he was also on the United States, I think it was the Defense Department. He was on some payroll of the government as well. He was cashing in from both sides. And he was working in Wuhan. Now we also know, and I've saved these videos because I've been searching to find them because I have inner knowing of what's actually going on right now. And I was seeking validation and I found it. So the Chinese situation, there were doctors who were aware in as early as December that there was a problem. And of course, the Chinese government was ignoring them because it was planned. Why was it planned? Because the world population needs to be reduced. Pandemic, 18 million, they say 18 million people died of it in 1918. You want to get rid of a few people? The COVID-19 situation was first striking the elderly in nursing homes, older people with underlying health conditions. They're tired of paying your Social Security. We couldn't get the legislation to kill Social Security, so we're going to kill you instead. We don't have to pay you. You have to really understand what's happening here. This is deliberate. It is structural reset. For those who are going to continue on with the system of entropy and the Vesica Pisces dynamic, closed system, no new energy coming in, it is a black hole system. It will implode. So I'm inviting you to not choose that. But you're going to do what you're going to do. So Chinese government, Wuhan, bats, new strain of corona, yeah, bioweapon released out. This is airborne. And I have watched spraying happen over Philadelphia. Now, we all know that the geoengineering spraying didn't work at all for global warming. But this reset in which source has inserted itself to make a correction, there have been fewer planes flying, right? So the only planes that are flying right now are military planes. And I watched them spraying in grid line patterns across the skies over Philadelphia before, I was like, okay, when are we going to have the first case of COVID diagnosed in Philadelphia? It'll be 2 or 3 days after this spraying because that's what they're spraying. And I was correct. Okay, now I've been doing energetic work for the last, since 2016 to be part of the correction. Let's put it that way. That's the easiest way to put it. So now we have an opportunity. Now you know some information about the virus. You do know that it is a suicide murder program. You do know that it is being heavily, heavily marketed through all the airwaves and marketing through radio, television, whatever, and the movies that have come on is all fundamentally about frequency and about being able to affect how your frequency runs in your own body and then how your DNA can be kept asleep or can be distorted or uh, well, they know how to do that now. Everybody volunteered for 23andMe, and they map the human genome, right? You have to pay attention. If you're not paying attention, it's difficult. But I was brought here because I have this quality of attention, and I understand patterns and can connect dots very quickly. And I don't operate on a vesica Pisces. I've got source creation trinity, three balls of energy constantly reproducing and holding on and giving me my energy that I needed. And I'm not trapped in the vesica Pisces. So I can see these things. And I'm here just to share this with you in case you want to know about them and make new choices. Okay. So the probability leap, you're not listening to the marketing story, right? It's like they're selling oh, Viagra, right? Think of it as a form of Viagra. Remember when Viagra first came out, the constant TV commercials, the magazine print ads, the newspaper ads, all of that. They're all it is, and all is going, is going, is going. So I woke up yesterday with a new understanding that this was about to change because of source engagement in this problem in co-creation that has to be corrected. And I woke up being very clear that it was a time probability choice for me because I'm still in a body. What was I going to do about future forward, a time leap, moving forward, not stuck in this present and not. That is the flexible relationship with time that we're meant to have. So, um, for those of you who are wanting to make conscious choices, this is the time to make the conscious choice that you're going to step into your relaxed timeline of co-create. Knit a sweater, do some gardening. Right now, I can almost hear the songs that people are composing in their own apartments with their electronic instruments. I can hear that music being born. I can feel visually, I have a sense of people who are home right now. They're painting. They have shops. They're generating prints. They're painting paintings. They don't care whether they're ever going to sell them. If they sell them, great. This is the drive. This is the moving forward impulse that I hope you will all find some small, beautiful way to express right now, in a way that is safe, in a way that is engaged in your community. Okay, I want to create a co-creative adventure in my community, and it has to do with holistic wellness education. And this is part of that education. And again, I will say to you that I'm here. I arrived here with a certain skill sets, and they were nurtured through my childhood. And I am working with 48 strands of activated DNA, which I have translated into a physical product. Which right now, since the healthcare system is failing, if you would be interested in trying it, it is very inexpensive. And, it might cost you as much as a good lunch. And oh, well, if it doesn't work for you, what's the harm? How many times have you gone to eat at a restaurant? You didn't like the food, you didn't go back. There will be a link where you can find out more, and I hope that you will try it. And in this information, it does include a frequency specific immune support so that your immune system has additional frequency information to prohibit the COVID-19 virus from settling into your body or into your lungs. So that's a free will decision on your part. Time probability, time leap. We have 2 more years, roughly, to be fully prepared to shift into full other dimensionality that might include our bodies. Uh, use this time wisely. Do deeper shadow work, because shadow isn't just thoughts that you think. It isn't just emotions. Shadow work lives as miasms of dead light in your physical, atomic, molecular, biochemical, biological body. Okay? So you may feel like you've got your mind aligned with source co-creation. You may feel like your emotions are down. You're not as attracted to the drama, and you can feel that shift for you, and you can feel that your gifts are opening, and that you have help with that and support with that from many different directions and places. And this is not new age airy fairy crap. It's not. I can tell you my own bioregenesis process, and that might be another video, because this isn't really about me, it's about you. Um, I'm 69 years old, and I'm now people in my community look at me and think that my son is my older brother. That's a function of the energy on myself, consciously, choice. And I teach it. So there is that. Because when you get this information, you have to be able to use your own discernment, yeah, and you compare and contrast and look around, and then you have to feel the true resonance in your own physical body and notice the small miracles that are happening for you, because they're on track with your ability to express yourself as a conscious co-creator who's contributing to life, who's not part of the suicide murder program. These distinctions are being made. COVID-19 is assisting with these distinctions. It's not a punishment, it's a correction. So I feel very, very grateful that I can communicate this way to you, that I can reach to you, through you, hopefully with you in this way. I'm very grateful that I have been given this task. And I will share that this is an expected experience for me, because in 1991 I was in Moscow, Russia. At the time the Soviet Union was collapsing. I was working with critical burn patients and with pediatric oncology, working side by side with doctors, bringing energy healing into that environment and having it validated and documented. Yes, 30 years ago, next year, right? My awakening happened. Yeah. So I've been here before, and I was at that time given information that the experiences that I was having there, I was there for 6 weeks in 1991. I returned again in 1992, and I returned again in 1990. And the information was that I needed to develop the skill sets, because they would become necessary in the United States in around 25 to 30 years. Yeah. And so I had an energy healing school. I taught hands-on energy healing workshops around the world. And then in 1996, my my consciously chosen partner died very suddenly, very unexpectedly. And that event catapulted me into another 2 decades of personal clearing work of this physical body. So I have experience, right? And I can interpret energy and information. And, if you know my work, you know my tagline: everything is energy. All energy is conscious. All conscious energy is information. All conscious energy, information in relationship. And that is what accelerates your conscious evolution, is how willing you are to be aware of how you're coded to be an awakened, having a great time, being joyful, feeling happy. I wake up every day happy. I do. Even through this marketing suicide marketing program of COVID-19, I wake up every day happy, greeting the life around me with thanks, appreciation, and gratitude. So grateful that I don't know anyone personally who is sick, because that sickness isn't happening in my personal hologram, in my structure of conscious co-creation, which I've chosen, which I've worked for. Christ can't save you now. Buddha can't save you. Allah can't save you. It's time for you to save yourself with the conscious choices that you're making and taking accountability and responsibility, not just for this lifetime. Oh, wouldn't that be nice? That's hard enough. This is a time where accountability is the ledger moment has come due for hundreds or more, right? So I want to see if there's anything else I'd like to share with you. At this time, we're at about a little bit beyond 30 minutes. Oh, I do want to share a couple more things with you. So right now, religion is not going to help you because it's designed to comfort you, and that comfort is designed to keep you asleep. The way to comfort yourself is to wake up. Okay, so let me give you that little tip. Astrology is also another orchestrated consciousness. It's been sold for a long, long time. It does give information about human archetypes, which we have been had our consciousness funneled into in terms of power drama and victim, rescuer, perpetrator, that very stable triangular relationship. BPR. BPR is very different from BPR, which is base pulse rhythm. BPR is victim, perpetrator, rescuer. You don't want to be in that triangle. You don't want your quanta trapped in that triangle. So astrology, um, it's fun, it's interesting, it's playful, it's great theater. Take it with a grain of salt. You are much more than an astrological sign, but it is a source of comfort because it gives people the illusion that something outside of themselves can know more than we can know ourselves. Right? To go within, you have to do the work. And sometimes it's much easier to develop, to get involved in somebody else's system. And it can be helpful in terms of what kind of a reflection does it provide you about the inner work that you're doing in this, so that you don't go down with the black hole, black Saturn, black sun, black cube, 3D matrix, quantum frame experience, having no hope ever again to be organized as in, because that's where that's going. I mean, that's heavy, but it's real. It's not at all about New Age. It's about co-creation. I mean, we did come from somewhere and we return to somewhere. So for those of you who are atheists and you imagine that you came from nowhere and you die and you go nowhere, okay, that's your comfort version. It's kind of masochistic comfort. I know what's going on. There's nothing that happens, so I'm in control. Nothing. Ooh, ouch, ouch. And with that goes a lot of ethics and morals, which are very helpful in terms of day-to-day relationships. Ah, yeah, so this is a very complicated scenario, and it is being worked through by Source and Ascending Guide. Laser surgery precision. And I myself am very grateful because I know that is work that I have to do. I don't have to be the surgeon who's got the whole thing figured out. I'm not doing the structural resets. I'm just someone who's willing and to engage that physically with my own body and to be a validation, a truthful validation, a frequency validation. It's there if you want to It's yours. If you don't, that's yours too. Now I'm going to upload this on my Patreon Sage YouTube channel, where I have been doing card readings, and I can tell you why I was doing non-traditional, non-strictly tarot card readings because of an experience that I had with Team Dark trying to take me out and to make me invisible. That went on through most of 2018 and all of 2020. Horrific. Whoa. And so, because they were interfering with my direct connection with Source, I couldn't hear that inner voice anymore, and I could barely feel that thread of vibration because they were trying to suck me in. I took two cards. I had lots of card decks because I needed to find my way back with a way that I could trust in a way that was not right. So I will share this with you. I am still teaching. I have been teaching now for almost 30 years. Love it. I teach in dream time. I teach in waking reality. And I do have a course going right now. It's called Accelerated Conscious Evolution. We just completed a cycle 1 and have moved, a group of people have moved on to cycle 2. And I've started a new cycle 1. And we're going to continue doing rounds. Cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3, cycle 4. And then in the fall, I'll be offering a certification program for those of you who understand where your own work as a mentor, a guide, and a teacher of technique, and an explainer, experiencer explainer may be going in the next couple of years while we're still here doing this version of correction. I would love to have you in my class. Because of social distancing, we're doing it online. When the social distancing thing wears off, we will go back to doing a combination of live in a wellness education center that I am in partnership with here in Philadelphia, and we'll be also doing it online. Okay, so please look at the links below and find more. There's more information on my website. And I would also say, as part of the correction that I'm working with the 48 strands of active DNA that I'm working with, I have a lot of information around particular things, especially now as it involves healthcare, or lack thereof. On the 26th of April, 2 to 4:30ish p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time, I will be working with a wonderful woman, an acupuncturist, Eloise Prescott, and she and I will be sharing a presentation on losing the sweetness of life and the disease scenario of diabetes. Right now, there are people who are not working, they're not going to have health care, they still have diabetes, they're not going to be able to afford the medication because we have not gone into a system of Medicare for all. Medicare is going broke, probably not going to be able to provide the level of access to that medication that diabetics need. If you are diabetic, if you know someone who is working with type 2 diabetes, please just join and listen to the presentation. And I would say with type 2, because type 2 is part of a developed form of diabetes where your genetic mutations begin to catch up with you over time, but you can still work your way out of that. Type 1 is a different scenario. I will be working with people to do these kinds of presentations just to open your mind as we move forward, as we liberate ourselves from the captivity, finally, of this entirely collapsing black cube, three-dimensional black hole, black matrix, whatever this mess is. You're going to need new information and new ways to adapt that brings frequency into your body that gives you alternatives that aren't biochemical. I'm not telling you don't take your medication. I wouldn't tell anyone that. Say, well, what happens if you add this complementary component? right? Or if you can't get your medication, what happens if you try this complementary approach? You actually find that your situation is one that you yourself with your own divine blueprint, a little bit of help. Okay? Yeah. And then, when all this craziness is over, you could go back in and get tested and find out that you don't have diabetes anymore. Wouldn't that be nice? That happened to me. All right. Much love to everyone. Please do look at the links. I do hope to see you in my class. We just had the first class of a new level 1 cycle. The next class will be on Tuesday night, April 14th, I think. It's a Tuesday night. And that's a cycle level 1, class 1, level 1, class 2. Everything is organized, so if you come into a class later, you get to go back and look at the other information. It's all there for you. And we do have a wonderful support group that we manage online with a great communications platform that is not Facebook. Okay, it's just as powerful, but it is not Facebook because it doesn't suck up your time creating distractions so that you're not looking within. Our platform is about really looking within and then bringing what you find within, bringing it forward in a beautiful, joyful, co-creative way. So I do hope you'll join in this next level 1 cycle. And then in May, we will again do a level 1 and a level 2, and then there will be a level 3. And this is very modestly priced compared to what I was able to do when I was out in the world, excuse me, offering high quality retreats, transformative, life-changing small group work. So this is something that I think you may be marginally employed, or you may have at $80, you may have that way under your mattress. And you recognize that this is a time for you to move into an educational course. I will tell you that Harvard, which is where Dr. Lieber came from, the man who set up the research lab at Wuhan, Harvard, maybe Harvard might be else. Somebody has developed a mindfulness training program. And in the last, they had like a couple thousand people a month involved in that. Since COVID-19, they have like 20 million people registered. I would love to have that happen for my program. And it goes way beyond mindfulness. And you know what? You do. Okay, so here I am, wishing you be well, wishing you be safe, and that you take the opportunity to make the probability time leap. There's a window here. I'm not sure how long it will be open. So don't wait. Don't wait. Wake up with your body feeling light and joyful, and recognize when the compression frequencies are coming at you so that you can adapt your own frequency information in your own body and energy field so that you're not stuck with that slime on you. One more caution. For the duration, please do not do any hands-on energy work on clients. And if you are someone who has habitually gotten Reiki or other modalities of hands-on energy work that involve your chakras, please do not book any more appointments for that kind of work. And even with someone who can do remote energy healing work like I can, right? You need to go in search of your own inner information. Please, please, because what's happening is shadow and distortions and miasm are falling away in big and small chunks. And if you're doing that kind of work and exchanging energy, you could pick up something just like you could pick up a transmitted sexual disease when you are engaging in casual sex with no protective gear, right? The protective gear is something you have to develop for yourself, and we haven't developed it yet. So beyond the social distancing thing of having someone lay their hands on you, and I adore that work, but I got the word back last summer that I couldn't do hands-on energy work anymore. And I listened. And now I know why. I mean, I pivoted well before this whole mess got started. And I pivoted well before I ended up being someone who could get the information about this virus, bioweapon, and then translate it via frequencies, which I carry in my own body and organization of consciousness, into something that could be very helpful for you. And really, you can just spray it on as a facial toner and you're done. All right. Thank you very much for watching. And I have done this under an hour. Please do sign up for my email list. Please do check. I will be posting in Patreon stage. I'm way busy right now. I don't have a lot of time to make um, a lot of extra videos, but do come into the course. And there'll be lots of video content in which I begin with the experience that I have personally, and then I bring in another very trusted source she began her work a little bit after I did. I think she began in 1998 and I began in 1991, but it's good information. And I share that with you in a way that presents you with solid information. You can feel whether or not it resonates with your body, and then you can decide what activities, what information you're going to take up and begin to use as part of your ongoing practice of. Okay, thanks very much for watching. It's a good day today, and I'm very grateful to have this time. Okay, bye for now.